Alright class, today we're going to be talking about the slope-intercept form and the equation. Before we do that though, I want you to look at the four types of slopes. The first one is a positive slope because, if you are driving up the hill, your altitude is increasing. This is a positive direction when you are going up, right? A negative slope is when you are driving downhill, your altitude is decreasing, or you are going in the negative direction. You're going to a down direction here. A zero slope is where your car is in the same spot. Your altitude isn't increasing or decreasing. It's just a flat line. And an undefined slope is when your slope is a vertical line, as you can see here from the car. The slope is undefined. So those are the four types of slope. We're mostly going to be looking at these first three. So if we look at this part of our notes, we are going to see, like, okay, what does a positive slope look like, what does a negative slope look like, and what's a zero slope. So for the first one, I've been given the point 0, -3, and I want to graph 1 over 2. So what does 1 over 2 mean? 1 over 2, oops, let me erase that, make it clear here. The 1 in this case, it means you're going to be going up 1 unit up, and the 2 means you're going to be going to the right 2. So if I were to graph this line, starting at my y-intercept of 0, -3, I'm going to go up 1, so I'll go up 1, and over to the right 2. So my next point is 2, -2. Same thing, I'm going to go up 1 and over to the right 2. Up 1, over to the right, okay, until I'm done with that side of the line. Then you have all this space down here. You also want to continue down with the same slope. So instead of me going up 1, I'm actually going to go down 1. So I'll go down 1 from here, and then to the left 2. So I'm doing the opposite of what I was doing before. Down 1, left 2, down 1, left 2, until the very end. And now I'm going to make sure that I connect my lines and put arrows at the end. That's how I graph this, the slope. Okay, so for number 2, we have the slope of -2 over 1. I know that it's not over 1 right now, but I want you to know that any number can be written as a fraction. What this means is I'm going to go down 2 for my starting point, and then go to the right, because a positive number on the bottom part means you're going to be going to the right. It's a positive direction. So for my y-intercept, I'm going to go down 2, so 1, 2, and over to the right 1. Same thing, I'm going to go down to right 1, down to right 1. Notice how the spaces are still the same. Okay, and then finish the graph on this portion doing the opposite. So instead of going down 2, I'm going to go up 2 and to the left 1. Okay, connect your line, connect your dots, and make the line. Okay, the last one, my slope is 0. I can still write that over 1. Any number over 1, you can write any number. From the point 0, -7. So 0, -7 is my y-intercept, and it's going to be right here. So my slope is 0 over 1, so I'm not going to move up 1. I'm just going to stay and then move over to the right 1. So if I continue doing that, I don't go up, I move over to this side. And I have to write my point right here. From here, I'm going to go up 1, over to the right. Notice how this line is going to be a flat line. You can continue doing it on the other side, but you'll notice that this is just a flat line. Okay, so that's just a preview of slopes. Notice how with a positive 1/2, you have a positive slope. With the -2, you have a negative slope. And when you have the number 0, it's just flat. Okay, so using the slope-intercept form, slope is always written or always represented by the letter N. The B is your y-intercept. Okay? This is your starting point. So you always start from the y-axis. Okay? So before we go and graph, I want you to look at the parts of the equation. So this is 3/2. Okay? That is going to be my slope. The slope is always the number in front of the variable x. So notice how there's the x here. That number in front is your slope. So in this case, my slope is 3/2. My y-intercept is 0, -4. So how I'm going to write that as a ordered pair is 0, -4. Okay, so I try to put the same colors down so that you can see. Okay. Number 2, I have a negative in front of the variable. Well, this is really actually a -1. Right here is a -1. So my slope is -1/1. Okay. My y-intercept, get my highlighter. My y-intercept is this number right here. And I'm going to write 0, 2. Okay. Last one. I'm going to take my green highlighter and I'm going to highlight that 5 because that's the number in front of the x. And I'm going to write my slope as a fraction, so the 5 could be written as 5/1. And my y-intercept is not really there, but if there's no number after the x, you can assume that your y-intercept is the origin. Because technically this is, 5x plus 0. 0, 0 is still part of like the y-axis, so that's your y-intercept. Okay, so when we end up graphing these later, for each of these, I want you to see what that would look like. So we always start from the top, from the bottom. So for the 3, that means we are going to go up 3, because the rise is 3, and because that's a positive direction, and because this is a positive 2, a positive 2 going left to right is going to the right side. Okay, so with the slope for number 2, you have a negative slope. The top number is our rise, so a negative number means we are going to be going down. A positive number on the bottom means we are going to the right. Number 3 is a positive 5, so positive direction is going up. And the bottom one, we are going to the right. So that's what it would look like eventually, but I just wanted to show you those examples. So if you turn over to the next page, I'm going to go ahead and fill in this stuff so you guys can figure out how to graph these equations. Okay, so I've written down the blanks. So what we're going to do is identify the slope and the y-intercept. That's the first step right now. I'm going to highlight this number with the green and this one with the blue so that you can see what the slope is and what the y-intercept is. So identify the slope and the y-intercept. I have a section here for you to write that. The slope for this equation is 3/4. So what that means is my top number means I'm going to either go up or down. Since that's a positive 3, I will be going up. My bottom number tells me if I'm going to go left or right. Because of a positive number, I'm going to go to the right. Okay, so that's the direction that I'm going to go in. Then my y-intercept is the number after the x, and I'm going to write that as an ordered pair. So I have my starting location, which is 0, -1, and I'm going to follow the slope that I'm given. So I already broke it down for you here. You're going to start with the top number by going up 3 from this point, 1, 2, 3, and going to the right 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I'm going to continue on until the very end, so go up 3 and over to the right 4. So I'm going to do that now. Okay, so I found my points. I went up 3 and to the right 4. I also did the opposite of that to follow this pattern. So once I have those points, I'm going to go ahead and connect my line. And that is my function. Okay, so hopefully that part has helped you see what we're going to be doing. I want you to pause this video and try to graph these on your own, and then come back and check with my work. Okay, I went ahead and highlighted the portion that I need to find my slope and my y-intercept. I strongly encourage you to write m and b equals, and then figure out the correct placement for each of that information. I'm gonna go ahead now and graph this solution, or this information, starting with my y-intercept. So there is my y-intercept. My slope, I'm going to move that -1 over to the negative sign on top of in the numerator, so I'll have a -1. A -1 means I'm going to go down 1 and over to the right 2. So from this one, I'm going to go down 1 and over to the right. Okay, continue doing that pattern. Okay, I have my points. I know that I'm in the right direction because my slope is negative, and right now that's what it looks like, that I have a negative slope. So connect my dots, and there is my function. Okay, go ahead and pause this video and try to solve number 2. Okay, so I found the slope and my y-intercept. Right now I want to look at the slope so that I can describe to you what you're going to be doing. The -3, the top number tells you whether you're going to go up or down. So I'm going to be going down 3 units for my starting point. The bottom number tells you if you're going to go left or right. So this is a positive one. So I'll be going to the right. So I'll start from my origin and go ahead and plot my points. Okay, so those are my points. I started from my origin, and now I'm going to connect my line. Okay, so the big thing you want to do is make sure you find your slope and your y-intercept and know the direction that your slope is going to go. Okay, pause this video and try number 3. If you're having trouble finding the slope for number 3, just remember that there is a 1 in front of that x. Okay, and there's an x by itself, that's 1x. And there is the answer to my problem. My slope was 1 over 1, so I would be going up 1 and then over to the right 1 from my starting location, and I have a positive slope. Okay, the last one for this problem set, I want you to find your slope and your y-intercept. Notice that these are a little bit jumbled, but just always remember that your slope is the number in front of the variable x. Okay, so I've highlighted the number in front of x, which is 2/3, so that's my slope. I will be going up 2 and over to the right 3, and I'm going to start at my y-intercept of -5. And that is the solution to this problem. So just a recap of what we learned today. I'm going to write this on the bottom. The number, so if I have my slope-intercept form equation, the number in front of the variable is your slope. That number can always be written over 1 if you just have like a number like 2, 3, or 4. And your y-intercept is always the number that's not attached to the variable. Okay? I want you to remember also the different types of slope. If you know that you start with a number, like a positive number, like the 1/2, you're going to have a slope that's a positive slope. If you have a negative number, then you should have a negative slope. So hopefully this video has helped you guys determine the slopes of and graphing slopes in general.